I'm really leaning into what Johnny really said, like in the beginning. It's greatly underestimated the great people that you're able to meet through some of these Christian business events, like both of you guys, and a lot more people that can provide such crucial moral, spiritual, and like professional support. Um, it's really shocking to me. I never thought that there could be, such a unite group that do have that same alignment. And I think alignment would be the best word to use in this case of we all want to have successful families, successful businesses, and actually serve our clients and our employees through our business. Because I think that is one of the biggest ministries that we can do by showing them love and actually showing them how things are done and motivate them to really take a step forward in every aspect of their life.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Bible. I'm joined by two good friends of mine, Johnny and David from Rise Up Kings. They both have different businesses. So this will be an interesting podcast because we're going to be talking to two different types of builders. Johnny is doing some commercial and residential construction, and David does decks. But they both have gotten me onto a tool called JobTread. So I'm interested to hear in today's episode how they kind of discuss their use of that. But guys, thanks so much for joining, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks
for having us.
Okay, David, we'll start with you. Tell us who you are and how we got to where we are today.
We met at the Rise of Kings event, both of you. Andrew, I met you first, and then I met Johnny at the RuckCon. But me and Johnny got much closer because we're actually part of the same forum, and that's how we stay connected. More ironically, some of the questions and challenges that I think we're going to approach today, we actually had a chance to talk about that with Johnny yesterday. Just super random. We got on a call and we were talking about work and some of the challenges. But it was great to share that because our fields of expertise are slightly different. I own a small construction company. We're doing a couple of seven figures with specialty in the decking and outdoor living space. I have 3 kids and a beautiful wife, and I'm 27 years old.
And don't make the mistake of thinking he's Brazilian because he's not, but that's what I thought for a while. So,
yeah, I get Mexican sometimes. No, my nationality is pretty mixed with my parents. It's a bit of a mess. European and all that.
All right, Johnny, you go next. Who are you, and what's your business?
So, I'm Johnny Rempel, and we are Coda Endeavors. So we are a small, commercial construction company. We dabble in some residential as well, more on the roofing side of that. We offer a very wide variety of services, but our specialty is going to be steel buildings, whether those are for commercial or some people like to have them as residential. So you start to see a lot more barn dominiums and those style of houses coming up. That's what we do. Yeah, man, I met both of you guys at RuckCon, or Con 9, and that's when me and David signed up for our forum, like you mentioned. And so we've had a good chance to grow closer. And Andrew, I've talked with you a few times, had lunch with you, so that was cool. And yeah, I'm 22 years old. I'm married. I have 0 kids. I've got 1 dog that rides with me everywhere, so she might peek to the front sometimes during the podcast. Her name's Lola, but yeah, that's me.
Talk just like maybe top line production for both of your companies. Like, how much was your guys' gross sales in general over the last year or two?
So last year we were at just under 900,000. This year we're looking at, it's kind of varies depending on one big project, but anywhere from 1 to 3 million this year.
Nice. Not bad. A 300% increase potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, last year our sales were 2.6, and I think this year we might be a little bit under that. Couple of things that we're noticing, super off topic, but election year, a little bit of a fear in the market of purchasing power, but we're also not large enough to really dictate that or pinpoint to that. But I do talk to a lot of contractors nationwide to kind of in specialties and in to see if everyone's kind of on the same page and it's panning out the same way.
What challenges are you guys both facing? So David, we'll go first with you. So what kind of challenges, typically with construction, we see things like cash flow, project management, estimation. What are some of the things that you feel like are sticking points in your businesses right now?
Yeah, so to get a little more background, we kind of shrunk our team from last year. We went from two salespeople or from three salespeople down to one, and that's just me. So that's been a bit of a challenge. Speaking to a lot of financial coaches in my space, sales solves all problems. As long as the sales are driving, cash flow doesn't really matter. At least, you're staying afloat. So that has been definitely a challenge this year versus last year. The biggest thing that keep up at night, I think Johnny can really share that as owners is just anxiety of like making payroll, having enough cash flow issue. We don't really have the cash flow issue. We really fixed that from last previous years due to setting up really good systems when it comes to payment um, schedule. And what payment schedule allows us to do is really pretty much collect before and as we go through the job. I would give a lot of credit for that to JobTread because it's a really great integration where it allows at a certain stage of a project for a customer to automatically receive an invoice and go straight into paying that invoice. Whether it's perma got approved or some inspection has been passed, JobTread, as soon as that task is complete, JobTread will send that invoice and customer can take care of it. A lot of the times with smaller contractor like us, it becomes that we just forget to send an invoice, and then if we don't have like someone that's on that, we just forget. And a couple weeks go by, and then you go, oh wait, how am I going to pay my marketing or how am I going to make payroll? And with that being said, a couple of those things are very helpful. In terms of anxiety, I think it's a bucket of a whole bunch of things. Of sometimes short on money, sometimes short on sales. It's a never-ending loop because from in between those things, when you think things are going pretty okay, then something will definitely pop up and go sideways.
Hmm. Johnny, what about for you? What are some of the problems facing your business or sticking points you're having?
So, man, my entire company was a sticking point until about 3 months ago, when David actually introduced me to JobTread. The way that I ran things, we were maxed out at last year's revenue of about 900,000 because everything relied on me. Um, Accurate estimating relied on me, project management, everything relied on me. So since we got JobTread integrated, I mean, this might as well be an ad for them. I might send this to our rep, but since we got
Yeah, sure.
JobTread
You
started,
should. Yeah.
I'll send it to them. Since we got it integrated, or we're starting to integrate it, some of those roles are taking a lot less time and a lot less effort on my end, like estimating accurately. So we're starting to implement all the new formulas. And I mean, there's so much to it. We can talk about JobTread all day, but we're basically taking it one step at a time. We're picking apart everything that I do, and then we are applying that, we're automating it as much as we can with JobTread, and then we're also open to the idea of automating a lot of it with AI. And so that's something that we've been looking at on the marketing side mainly. We're doing a lot of marketing with AI, or the people that we hire do. And so our pain points are really kind of all over the place right now, but we're resolving them one at a time, starting at estimation, because that's our main bottleneck. Once we can start pushing estimates accurately and quickly, then that's no longer going to bottleneck. Then, okay, then we're going to move to the next step in the process. It's going to be, okay, well, how do we streamline planning? And then from there, we're going to go to production. And which we're kind of doing everything at the same time, but our major focus right now is estimation. And then once we get that down better, then we'll move down the line. But what David said, as well as like we kind of had a conversation yesterday about anxiety and taking work home with me. Um, that's been a pretty major problem that I've been dealing with, and it's kind of exactly what he said. Like it's just all these problems of small business owners um, kind of piling up at the same time. But again, I'm not the victim to that. I'm able to choose to leave that at the door whenever I walk out of that office.
That's good. I mean, I feel like every business owner to some extent really struggles with cutting it off. I know that I do. And then you guys may know a little bit of my story, but had a mental breakdown because of anxiety from my first business. So I feel your pain there. What are you guys, maybe what's one thing that you're excited about or you feel like is going really well with your business or you feel like you're doing better than the next guy for your clients?
Yeah, I just wanted to also loop back into it, like we originally discussed, Andrew and Johnny, that thanks a lot to, you know what I mean. This is like when I went through the refinery at Rise of Kings, like I knew at that moment I needed to be there at that time specifically. Like it was very God driven and God initiated process for me. And I think from there, looping it back into everything else, like thanks to that, like I get to know you guys. And then thanks to that, we get a closer community of support of that when that anxiety hits, we have a solution. And then like it just kind of all loops into this like not perfect, but it loops into this like a more complete package of that we get to know each other to help each other find business solutions for our clients, and on top of that deal with like the anxieties and all the challenges that we do face, whether spiritually or physically. So I think that is like, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now because I talk about this and it just really drives it home for me. But to answer your question, um sorry, what was your question?
Well, what's one thing you feel like you're doing better than the next guy, or something that's trending up in your business that you're excited about?
Totally. From specifically for me, I really try to focus on really small wins. Yesterday, I had two very small, but yet they're big ones. Our process, we really lay out our process extremely professional comparing to everybody else. From the initial meeting with the client to have an extremely well dialed in proposal for them, meaning this is how we do things. We set the standard very, very high, and also that ties down to the pricing. And a lot of the clients immediately realize that they're not just working with, oh, this is a handyman. This is just, one off a general contractor that's going to do all the work. And then from there, um, looping it right back into keeping that standard high. For example, including JobTread integration, including follow-up calls that are actually Zoom calls with the clients. So before when we head out of there, we're like, hey, we're setting up a Zoom call to show the proposal and go over it. JobTread helps with that a ton because it creates really cool templates the way you present your proposals to the clients, like your quotes, and it also allows for options. So you can give them options, whether what deck board they want to go with, what railing they want to go with, and that gives a small competitive edge, if not big. I focus on small wins like this. Yesterday, I had two things that really, really helped me kill some of the older beliefs. I sold the job over the video call. So I met with the guy a couple of days ago, and then we got on the video call. I showed him all the numbers, and he said, "Send it over. I'm going to sign it right now, and we're going to go with you." So that was really cool because it's like I had that happen maybe a couple times through my career. And then on top of that, the second one, we had a financial meeting with our accountant. We went over everything, and it was really good to hear that it feels like to me we're not doing better than last year, but she said we actually are. There's a lot of indicators for that. And she said it seems like the sales are a little bit lower, but she said but we're more profitable. So those small wins really put me in like, I know we're small business owners, I know we're in the trenches, but at the same time, on top of all of that, those small wins help you step up and be like, no, we're doing good. Let's kill the old belief and move on to the next one.
I like that. What about for
Yep.
you, Johnny? What do you feel like is going better, or you're excited
So
about,
I'm
or
actually
trending
going
in
to
the
pull
right
over here.
direction?
I'm losing service.
You might have just lost him. Okay, Dave. Well, let's let you talk about JobTread for a hot second. Talk about how you're using it with your business.
Yeah, pretty much. We started very slow and steady. It was about 2 years ago, and I want to really backtrack that a little bit more, like how and why we even came about it. Um, it came to a point of one question, and the question was simply this: where do we actually want to go? And I know it might sound out of the blue, but it's a very important question. It was like, what revenue numbers do we actually take the legacy decking to? Then, after before that, then you ask a separate question of like, what systems do we need for that? And before that, running with just some kind of invoicing apps of like, okay, here's this job, here's that job, everything in three, four different platforms, that makes it very challenging. Because when you have 10 jobs going at once, you can't just, have everything in spreadsheets and all over the place and in your notes and then your, physical pads as well as your notes on your computer or your phone. So with that, it was a big step to swallow because it was a scary field to step into JobTread and start learning things. Like stepping in and then being like, okay, I need to learn how to manage the schedule on JobTread instead of Google Calendar. I need to import all the catalog, all the items, build out the templates, build out all the invoicing templates, all the proposal templates. It takes a good amount of time, but within about, I would say, 3 to 4 to 6 months, once it was up and running and you take phase at a time from my proposals are good to go. Then the next part is going to be, my invoices are good to go. Then my catalog is good to go. You really start to really step into and understand that fear is, inch deep and a mile wide.
Hmm.
So, and for us with JobTread, the way it works is like this. We actually probably somewhere about 60 to 80% in, but we feel like we're utilizing to, the most we can. There's lots of features that we didn't even take advantage all the way, just because right now we don't have enough resources or someone to bring on to incorporate that particularly into our business. It's very tailored to how things run in separate company, and you can make that tailoring work. Just in my opinion, job trade for specialty trades or even, commercial construction, if someone specializes or at least staying in one niche of direction, there's no issues taking your company to $100 million with that because it'll be more than capable to handle that.
I think there's a guy in Rise Up Kings that gets you really great, talented labor overseas for very expensive, or for very cheap. So I could put you in contact with him after this because I feel like that might be an
I know,
opportunity.
I know who the guy is.
Well, he's very handsome and winsome and smart. Johnny, what about for you? What's two questions? What's going well right now that you're excited
So the
about,
things that are
and then
going
how
well,
how are
I've
you
got two
leveraging
right
job
there that
trade?
I'd like to share. So the things that are going well are kind of in unison with the things that feel like they're going wrong right now. And that's just because, like I said, the way that I had built the company originally was everything relies on me. And so, well, now it's my job to transition that into, automating it and doing all that. Well, we're not in a position to hire somebody to come in and automate everything and then just learn how to use it. So, we set up with JobTread. They've got awesome success managers that help you set up and everything. But now it's like, okay, I'm balancing doing everything myself and setting up JobTread at the same time and slowly automating. So it's an amazing thing to see.
Mm.
I think I know a guy
I
from
know, I
Rise
bet
Up
you do.
Kings. I know a guy from Rise Up Kings that
Anyways,
can set it up for you.
so yeah, so we're like in a point where it's very exciting seeing the things that I no longer have to deal with and how much faster we're actually already pushing things out, like estimates and bids out. But at the same, like that's the exciting side of it. And just like I kind of mentioned earlier, that's also the overwhelming side of it is setting everything up while we're still doing everything. But it's slowly getting better, so that's very exciting. The other thing is, I had a customer on Monday. We sent out a bid for a pool house, and we sent a bid to him, and he just got a whole new house built and everything. So he had the pool put in already, and then he just wanted us to come do the pool house because he wasn't happy with his builder. Um, so we bid it, and with JobTread, you get crazy detailed. It's so granular. Like, I mean, when we're bidding a house, you're going to see down to the 2x4 and the 2x6 how accurate, how many nails are we using on your house. That's how granular we're getting. And that helps two things. That helps transparency with the customer, and it also helps the fact that we're going to see if we're missing something. Like we can see everything. It's all in a template. Like every single thing that we could possibly
Mm.
use to build a house is in our template. But anyways, this customer, when I sent that over to him, he called me and he had already signed it within like 2 minutes of me sending it to him. And so it was approved and signed. He calls me and he's like, you know, you don't have to do this as a contractor. And I said, I know I don't have to do this, but this is what's going to set us apart from everybody else, right? And he was like, you're right. He's like, this is probably why I signed it in 2 minutes without even talking to you about the numbers. And I was like, exactly. And so that was a huge win, was seeing that work paying off
Mm-hmm.
and customers recognizing it. And then what was your second question?
I love that. That's incredible. Oh, well, I feel like you just answered both questions at once with the fact that you're leveraging a tool like JobTread to help take things off your plate, and then getting super specific with your bids and estimates. Um, Guys, one thing that I is always on my mind is, what do you feel like AI is doing in your industry? Obviously, at the moment, AI cannot build decks or sheds or barn dominiums or commercial. But what ways do you feel like it could be helpful, and where are you guys
So I'm
kind of
using
using
it,
it so far?
yeah. So I'm using it very little. I know I'm not taking
John, you want
full
to go first?
advantage of it. We're using it in marketing. Just the guy that we hire for our marketing, he uses it very minimal too. Like we're not taking full advantage of it. I know we could use it very well in marketing if we took the time to either learn how to use it properly or hire somebody like Andrew to come do it, and then took the time to learn to do it properly, or hired
What
someone
was
like
it?
Andrew, to come do it for us. But I mean, really, that's kind of the only area we're using it. The one other area would be within setting up our formulas of how we calculate, how much of each material, like cubic yards of concrete, cubic yards of dirt. Within all those formulas, we're using AI as well to help us calculate not just how many cubic yards of dirt is if we're putting in the cubic feet of the pad, but if we're putting in the pad dimensions, it's automatically going to calculate the length, width, and depth into how many cubic yards of dirt. But then we also input in our job data how far away our pit is that we're pulling dirt from. And then we also have in there that, hey, we use belly dump trailers that hold 20 yards of dirt at once. So with this, we just input length, width, depth, and distance from pit, and it will automatically calculate, exactly how many cubic yards we need, divide that into how many trucks we need, which we also have integrated into what we're paying per mile per truck to do it. So it'll divide it into how many loads of dirt we're hauling in, and then break that down into the mile and automatically spit out the number of what our cost is and what our sale price is.
I will say this, guys. I have talked to probably now 100 home builders and commercial guys. You guys are far ahead in how you're leveraging a tool like that to do what you're doing. Well, David, what about for you? AI, how are you using it, and where do you feel like you could be using it that you're not?
Yeah, interestingly you ask, because I've been thinking about that, like where do I land in terms of how much I use AI. So let's break it up into two: personal and professional. I think personally, I'm pretty like on it in terms of any question I have. I'm about 50-50, depending. Like my mind understands where Google will give me a little bit of an answer, quicker answer versus chat. I use Chat GPT. I've trained my model good enough for the past year where I think it knows me really well. So it's pretty private. I journal with my Chat GPT. You know what I mean? I do some crazy stuff. So it's been really good because it understands kind of how my brain operates, and also helps me see where my downsides could be. It sees my rear view mirror blind spots that I might not be able to see, and I'm very upfront. So that's part one. In terms of work wise, we're training two models right now. One for the legacy decking, like um, controller, top management. You know what I mean? Just the top CEO position, for to really give it all information we can, for it to really answer the question for anyone, so it can replace me. That's one. And then the second part, we're also training for a project manager slash project coordinator role, where once again, we're explaining all the SOPs, all the systems, all the templates, uploading that to also a separate chat where anyone in our company can just go, because we're preparing for a few hires in the next couple months. And we want to make sure that They don't have to come to me and ask me all these questions. There's parameters that's set, and then what happens is that when they really come down to it and they have a question, they could just use the chat that we created. They go back to it without having to steal my time because I'm paying them for it. Besides all the little things like Johnny mentioned, recently we've also tried this one thing I wouldn't really recommend, but you could get a good idea. When it comes to engineering stuff, because we do touch on that pretty often, we handle our own permits in house as well with our permit technicians and drafters. We outsource the engineering part. We have two options. Either wait for an engineer to look over the plans and recommend the beam size and the footing depths, or what we could do is we could prepare for that with ChatGPT and go ahead and actually give him enough specifications to say what loads would be requirement for 100 pounds per square foot load for this. Here's our area, here's our wind speed and all of that. And ChatGPT will narrow it down to a very accurate, specifications. Well, that will really boost us ahead of time is having to do any revisions. So for us to prepare that document of engineering for the engineer, for him to just look over and stamp it. Now, by no means ChatGPT is an engineer, but to give you a really good idea what you need to bid on, what beam of a size, what footings of the size, and all these little things, it's almost insane to think that that's how it would work. Whether it comes to like steel beams, because we use a lot of steel as well when it comes to deck construction, like we either use I beams, what's it called, the hollow beams, or even joist. So that comes from a company, Fortress. They provide steel framing specifically designed for decks. So with just those little things, everything else beyond that with small questions, it's extremely helpful. But I hope that kind of puts in the ballpark what capabilities it
Yeah.
has from the emotional side to the down nitty gritty of everything.
What's one thing we haven't talked about today, guys, that you'd like to talk about? Anything could be faith, family, fitness, finances, Rise Up Kings related.
I had a
Anything
better
that
option,
we
David.
haven't talked about.
Anxiety.
I'm kidding.
It's real.
So no, I was gonna. That was actually one thing that I was gonna mention too.
Go
Is
for it, Johnny.
good ways with that. But what I was gonna bring up actually kind of ties into it. Is where has God showed up in my business? The question would be, where has God showed up in my business where all of my systems failed and didn't save me? And so I've had a couple of areas like that. And now,
Yeah.
what the one main area I like to talk about is this is before we had any systems and everything was kind of coming crashing down. This is at the complete start of the company. I think we're 8 months in. We're on the verge of bankruptcy. We had, try to drag ourselves through that hard point with debt, and it wasn't working. And the debt was coming up due, and everything. And God came through, and we ended up like it was a crazy deal where we won a raffle for like a Can-Am side by side. We were able to sell it, pay off that debt, and pull through. And here we are. Like it was a wild, wild ride. But there's nobody to give credit to other than God in that situation.
That is amazing. That's a really cool story of provision. I love that.
Very nice.
What about you, David?
Yeah, I'm really leaning into what Johnny really said, like in the beginning. It's greatly underestimated the great people that you're able to meet through some of these Christian business events, like both of you guys, and a lot more people that can provide such crucial moral, spiritual, and like professional support. Um, it's really shocking to me. I never thought that there could be, such a unite group that do have that same alignment, and I think alignment would be the best word to use in this case. Of we all want to have successful families, successful businesses, and actually serve our clients and our employees through our business. Because I think that is one of the biggest ministries that we can do by showing them love and actually showing them how things are done and motivate them to really take a step forward in every aspect of their life. Um, to loop that up all together, just forever grateful. When the days are tough, reaching out on some of the chats and seeing who can help or who's going through either similar or how they dealt with that in the past. It's uh, it's a great experience, and you can't really put a price on that.
Amen. Yeah, I mean, shout out, Rise Up Kings changed all of our lives. We're
I'm going to
thankful to be
Forge. I
part of it.
don't
Are
know
you guys
when.
going to be at Forge?
I'm going to Forge.
Heck yeah.
I'm,
Oh, heck yeah. Okay, guys, if people want to learn more about who you are and what you do, where can they go?
Mine is simple. Go to our social media. Go to or just Google us. It's Coda Endeavors LLC, and we're based in Texas. We serve the entire state of Texas. So if you go there, you'll see all of our projects. I don't really have a personal social media presence. Like, I mean, I have a page, but I probably haven't posted on it in 3 years. So yeah, I mean, really, if you want to find us, social media or Google.
Awesome. What about you, David?
Yeah, same way. If you search it up, if you really want to find the company-wide legacy decking in Seattle area, I'm pretty confident it'll be hard to miss. And personally, yeah, you can search me up on Instagram. You should be able to find me. If you reach out to our company and just ask for David, you should be able to also get a hold of me. Esther's usually pretty nice if it's us scammers calling.
Would if I wanted to reach out to you, could you give me some good recommendations for Russian
And I
bands I
could
should
give you,
listen to?
so Andrew, I
I
can give you
could
German
totally
music as
check.
well if you need it. So
I like that. That's good. Some eclectic music taste, guys. Thanks so much for joining. Don't hop off
thank
yet. I'm
you.
gonna stop the recording, but thanks so much for coming on the pod.